Gunman Boxing, the baddest boxing channel in the UK. I am here with one of the baddest men in the world, the Hall of Famer, the legendary RJJ Roy Jones Jr. This man folds you up like a MacBook. What a career you've had. Listen, here we are. We are in the Peacock's gym ahead of the transatlantic clash that is going down at Stamford Bridge. Team USA versus UK. Great concept. How are you feeling about it all, and how do you think your team's going to do?
Feeling good about it. For me, I love the fact that we got teams that can compete against each other, but it's more about creating an atmosphere that makes these kids want to go compete, and it puts a sense of responsibility on their back by attaching them to their country. So the fact that it's UK versus USA forces all of them to perform with the whole country on their shoulders, not just themselves, and I love that.
Yeah, listen, so they're not like, it's not world championship level and it's not European level, but it's guys that are hungry, they're upcoming. Do you think we're going to see more, fiery fights and more stoppages because you've got guys that are really looking to make a name for themselves?
Most definitely. This is why we did it, because boxing has created so many open lanes for other people to get in. That's why all the influencer boxers come along, because the top fighters don't fight the top fighters. People want to see a good fight. They don't care what level it is. They want to see a good fight. So that's why they start watching the influencers, because the influencers have a lot more people that watch them, and they go find another person who's their equal. But that's a good fight. That's all people want to see. So now we're going to finding guys from the UK and finding guys from the USA that are somewhat similar or equal, because those make for the best fights.
So we've got your team. For those that don't know, we've got Team Roy Jones Jr. versus Team Spencer Oliver. It's UK versus USA. It's going down Stamford Bridge, 4th of April. It's going to be a mouth-watering tournament. It should be absolutely electric. I have to quickly talk about you, though, as well, because that's what the fight fans also want to hear about. Listen, you used to train Chris Eubank Jr., who is fighting Conor Benn on this month as well. How do you see that fight going?
Well, it's a tough fight for Ben, because Eubank's a bigger fighter. Ben started out, I think, about 140. Eubank been 160 pretty much his whole career, even when I was high as 168. So Chris being a bigger guy, I think he has the advantages going in. But it comes back down to that family rivalry. And that family rivalry, I think Ben was probably the better puncher. Eubank was a smarter fighter who also could punch. And it's almost the same thing again, except that they're not the exact same size. Chris is bigger. So with Chris being bigger, you have to give him the edge. But the Benz do have that punching power that could change anything. So you got to always leave that opening there, because that's always a small possibility. We saw Liam Smith get lucky like that. So the one-punch situation is the best one for Conor Benn. And that's what he got to live by or die by, but that's how his dad fought. His dad was kind of guy that he wasn't looking to outbox you. He wanted to either knock you out or you got to beat him.
But Eubank's got much more experience. It's a huge fight in London and a huge fight in the UK. What do you say to fight fans that say that you took a little bit of Eubank's best attributes out of him? Like, he used to be come forward, relentless. Some fight fans feel that he tried to box too much like you. There is only one RJJ, let's be honest. Do you see it the same way, that potentially that you tried to get him to do things that he just couldn't do?
Any fight fan that thinks that is out of their mind. I never asked any fighter to do anything that I don't think he can do, and I never asked another fighters to duplicate who Roy Jones Jr. is.
No, you can't duplicate you, mate.
I never asked that. That would be stupid. I'm not God. I can't make that. So that's completely out of the question. When I came to the fight for Eubank to fight Liam Smith, I told Eubank, I said, Eubank, you don't need me for this fight. The old you is sufficient and exactly what you need to fight this guy with. You don't need me. So for people saying I took something out of him, they're wrong. I told him before that Liam Smith fight to go back to being the old Chris Eubank. You don't need the new and improved that can box too, because here's what you got to understand. I didn't take nothing out of him. I added stuff to him. That's why I told him when I got it, I said, listen, what I've added, you don't need that. This guy, you need to fight your own fight the way you used to fight. Straightforward, relentless. Don't let him come forward. That was my instructions to him on day one. So don't say I took nothing out of him, because I didn't. I added to him, but I never would take nothing out of anybody.
Yeah, because when we see him at his best, he's peppering people like a Caesar salad. He's coming forward, relentless engine. You never have to call a plumber when he's around. But he was kind of like, not finishing guys and, shaking and baking a bit too much, and people didn't see that as his best attributes.
But there were small things that he was missing, as you saw in the Groves fight. as you saw in the Billy Joe Saunders fight. There were small things that he was missing that could have, if he'd added those things to him, they would have better suited him in those fights. So I was never here to take nothing away from him or change nothing. I was here to add the additives that he would probably need if he saw Groves or somebody like that, or Billy Joe Saunders or somebody like that. I added the things that he didn't have. I didn't take nothing away. And that's the mistake fans make because they listen to people that talk like Eddie Hearn, who tell them that, oh, Roy changed. I didn't change nothing. I added to it. He chose to change that. I told him, you don't need what I've taught you to beat this guy. You need to be your old self. That was my instructions on day one. Anybody in that training camp or anybody in that gym could tell you that. So I didn't change nothing. They give me the credit when he loses. Okay, I'll take that,
yeah,
but I didn't
boxing.
do that.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
do that. That's not how that happened.
Listen, you've got a guy on this card, Mandeep, Indian fighter, 11 wins, 7 stoppages. What can we expect from that guy?
Mandeep is a very different type of fighter. He's a guy too. I can't expect Mandeep to fight like Roy Jones Jr. No. I can only try to beat Mandeep at what I never try to make nobody fight like me.
Yeah.
I can try to get Mandeep to be the best Mandeep that Mandeep can be.
Yeah.
So we've been working on some things with Mandeep's punching, with him trying to punch sharper. He was in India, he had some issues for a little while, so he only been with me for 2.5 weeks this time. So it's been a little bit of a long journey for him. But I'm thinking that because of the experience he had in the amateurs, we can take that, work with what I'm teaching him, and put him together good enough to get beyond this one. Then he'll start back on his incline because I had him on a high incline, but then he got away from me for a little while, so he kind of fell back into his old self.
Lastly, have you got any other exciting fighters in your stable that the UK fight fans should keep an eye out for?
There's a guy named Kevin Newman. There's a guy named Franklin Dwarmuth from Germany. There's a guy named Tony Curtis from right here in the UK.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Fight.
So I got a few cards in the deck that people haven't seen yet, but they coming.
Yeah, listen, is there any amount of money that will see you return to the ring again?
I mean, I'm not the
Or
hardest.
is that a silly question?
No, it's not a silly question. It's not a silly question at all because I'm not the hardest person to convince to fight. That's what I do for a living. That's what I did my whole life. So if the money's there, that's the only thing that would probably have kept me from fighting people a long time ago. Because if the money was there, the heart, the courage, the mindset, all that's here. But I got a friend named Ron right now who's working on bringing me back for real. So if it was some static or somebody that wanted trouble, I probably, with the right money behind it, I'd probably answer the bill.
All right, before I let you go, can you just throw like 5 left hooks in a row? Just to the camera. Thank you very much, RJJ. You are the man. Love you to bits.